Good now, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. All my revolutionary friends are here, and we are excited to share with you another week of answers to your crypto questions, helpful news, commentary. It's the only place to get it on TikTok or anywhere else on the internet for that matter. We're so glad that you chose to spend your morning, or if you're watching on YouTube, your afternoons and your nights with us. Couldn't do it without you. You're the best part of the community. And speaking of the community, if you enjoy the Rise Up Morning Show, or if you're seeing my face for the very first time, and this is something you want to learn more about, you want to learn more about cryptocurrency, then hey, I've got some resources for you. You can head to theriseupmorningshow.com or just visit the link in my bio to access the free Rise Up Discord community where we're live 24/7. You can get the newsletter, the occasional monthly best, briefest bits from the show. You can find our YouTube channel. All of these streams go there to live. And we do other videos there too, like how-tos, tutorials, yada yada. Plus, lots of crypto content right here on TikTok. There are so many ways to join the community, to start learning. All that's missing is you. So let me know where you're tuning in from. If you're a crypto user, if you've got questions about cryptocurrency, you're curious or skeptical, it doesn't matter. You're all welcome here. And if you can stump us, that's great. If you have a question that we don't have an answer for, our friends who does. These are my colleagues, Mr. Alex Popovich and Mr. Will Watson. Gentlemen, good morning. How was your weekend?
It was good, and I just want to tell everybody, you can't stump us. We know everything. We are oracles from ancient Greek mythological times. Look at those glasses.
If anyone comes close to stumping us, we actually have secret backdoor chat, and we will talk shit, and then we'll ban you.
And if you stump us, we just turn off the stream and we go home. Although we're already
We instantly disappear in a puff of smoke.
Look, guys, we're obviously kidding, but please don't stump us, because every time you do, Will starts crying, and then Evan and I have to do a lot of damage control to get him, back to being confident enough. And it's just
hard.
But no, to be fine. Actually, Evan, the stumping thing is such a good way to open, because there was one random little synapse that fired in my brain that I was like, okay, I'm going to talk about this, because I'm trying to post more stuff on LinkedIn lately, and some guy left me a comment.
No, how does any of this help Diddy?
Listen to you.
That's a great question. Thank you, Doug, for bringing that to our chat.
I don't speak in absolutes very often, but I am absolutely not interested in helping Diddy. There's no helping Diddy. Diddy
did it to himself, man.
Diddy's cooked.
He did it to a lot of people.
Diddy did it to a lot of people. Okay. Anyway, great tangent. I was talking on LinkedIn. Some guy left me a comment pointing out, like, I don't know, one of his concerns or something like that with, by the way, if you want just a pro tip on breaking out of the Web3 echo chamber, just head on over to LinkedIn and start talking about it. All right. There's a lot of skeptics, and there's no, like, I don't know, the niches don't exist the same way with LinkedIn content as they do other places. So I'm having a great time. So some guys like, bringing up some issues or whatever, and I'm going back and forth, like asking him questions, because I'm like, holy shit, okay, this dude clearly knows more than me. Turns out he like co-wrote more than one ERC standard, and was some like open source dev contributor to all this. So I'm having a great time. But that's my pro tip for the day. You want to break out of the echo chamber and talk to some people who are a little bit skeptical and might be able to teach you something. Fucking get over to LinkedIn and just say anything about it. The comment that inspired the conversation was just about video games specifically.
Yeah,
super interesting.
Is that where you found out about
like LinkedIn is?
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say LinkedIn is the perfect social media anti-Web3 crypto echo chamber. It's the perfect antithesis.
It's great.
And always has been, and it's such an interesting, different internet experience if you talk about anything Web3.
Yeah. No, I can't believe it took me this long, and it took me a while of like posting and posting some videos and whatever to even get one comment. But now I've noticed that if I'm keeping it up a little bit more consistently, my reach is going up, and I'm starting to get some comments from people. And so far, only one has been like fuck yeah. Everything else has been like, I don't know, this thing can, but these are like multi-paragraph comments that are coming back about like, well, this is a problem and this is a problem. And, you know, this is a solution to a problem that no one actually has. And there's legal ramifications with this and that. And like the comment I'm looking at right now is someone who is talking about, you know, NFTs in video games and how it doesn't make sense because legally these assets they don't have any basis to be transferred between organizations. And I'm like, well, yeah, no, for sure. Like, not only is that exactly right, and does that prove the need for us to get away from just like these video game incumbents, but like, yeah, no, that's a real concern that no one ever talks about. Is sure, you own it, now what?
Yeah.
You know? So it's super interesting, and
you own it, you can do whatever you want with it, right? But if you do whatever you want with it and like include it in your stuff because you own it, but it's the IP of another company, then
exactly. Which is so interesting because for the first time, someone is like he's not wrong, right? Like, if I own an NFT from Call of Duty, that doesn't mean that I own the Call of Duty intellectual property, right? In the same way that if I own a Magic card, I don't own Wizards of the Coast, you know, intellectual property to Jace, the character on the card, right? Like, but I've never gotten to have that conversation with someone in a comment section on social media, and it's very exciting.
Yeah. Because you get because on LinkedIn, you have people who actually do the business and have to think about business things as opposed to just number go up.
Yeah, it's super, super interesting. And so but Evan, in answer to your question, no, that was just a Twitter find. And what Evan was mentioning is I noticed, and I did not know this until yesterday, but I noticed that pretty much every major university in the United States has a blockchain club now. They all have Twitter accounts. They're criminally underfollowed and they're posting really good stuff. And pretty much all of them have a conference at some point just hosted at the university that is open attendance. Anybody can go. And so like Georgia Tech, you know, I missed Georgia's for this year, but like I was mentioning to Evan, U of M is hosting the Midwest Blockchain Conference in November in Ann Arbor, where I used to live.
Yeah, here's the MIT Blockchain Club. I'll follow them. Ooh, the Cambridge Blockchain Society. I live in Massachusetts, so this is relevant to me. I wonder if Harvard has one.
Harvard does, Princeton does, Yale does.
Harvard Blockchain, yeah. Yeah, they all have like 2,000, 3,000 followers.
Yeah, and they're really cool too. I was digging down the rabbit hole of that conference you showed me, Alex, and there was like one kid there who recruited sponsorship from all the Big Ten schools. That looked like there was a group I made a note to dig into later called Dorm DAO, and I instantly after about 10 minutes felt like a total boomer. I was like, oh my god,
yeah,
just up and comers just rocking. Oh.
Go figure that there's a plethora of college kids that are just crushing out super interesting stuff that no one is paying attention to in favor of more meme coin grifts and, you know, Iggy Azalea's stripper party.
Yeah, I am already so behind.
It's funny because I did think, because you guys went to Consensus earlier this year, yeah? Or it was just Alex?
I did.
Yeah. Yep. And I remember you and, oh my God, I'm forgetting her name. But everyone who went was like, oh yeah, it was like very, very like a mature, definitely seemed like crypto was growing up, you know, like everyone was very serious. And then I went to Bitcoin Nashville conference and I was like, oh, this is much more mature and it's much better than the last Bitcoin conference I'd gone to in Miami. I think it's in part because it wasn't in Miami. And I was like, okay, cool. Like we're all like growing up a little bit. And then like the Singapore like coin event and stuff. And you just saw like people just like banging strippers on the dance floor. You're just like, oh no. Oh no. Yeah. Just like, oh, there it is.
Oh my gosh. I did see a tweet about that was like, it is the reality of crypto that founders are out here struggling to get $5,000 or $10,000 grants, and everybody is blowing to like it's chump change, you know, at these parties. And I was like, oh my god.
Well, I just the one thing that pissed me off was that there was a pretty recently. So it's the comments. It's the comments around it. Like, I don't care. Go have fun. I would never like knock an industry because someone had a party and then had fun at the party, right? But you gotta like pull your head out of your ass, and you can't have such an aggressive double standard like we do in Web3, because it was very recently that a bunch of women put together the efforts to build like a sort of reality show like around Solana and like the things that are going on and the things that they're participating in. And it was universally and immediately vilified and hated as ultimate top signal. And now that all of these like Frank D. God assholes are just like playing with strippers at Iggy's party, everyone's like, guys, calm down and let the guys have some fun. And I'm just like, you people are so not good. This is so stupid.
There is a larger percentage of incel in crypto than in traditional finance, to a much larger percentage.
Certainly, yes.
Yes. Doug, they are the worst.
They are the absolute worst, and they make me sad.
Speaking of things that are the worst, we all have a lot of scam accounts. There are many impersonators of each of us on TikTok and other social media platforms where we live, but these are our only accounts. If those folks reach out to you, we're terribly sorry to hear it. The best thing to do is to just report them, ignore them, and make sure that you're following us here, because we will never DM you first. We'll never ask you for money, offer you an opportunity to make money. You should always, always, always double check if you receive a message like that. And definitely don't click any links. And if you have questions about the different kinds of services we offer, I saw a lot of folks asking, do you do live courses? The answer is absolutely yes. And most of what we offer, like this show, is totally free. If you want more information on all the things we offer and the services you can pay for, like our live classes, we've got access to some really cool resources, all at the riseupmorningshow.com. Give it a visit. And if you have questions, send us a ping here, send us a ping in the Discord. We would love to help you learn about crypto. Even if you're just getting started, we really, really have a spot in our hearts for people like that. We absolutely love it. Quick question, Omni Rista says, type it out and let us know. The first part of this question is, people are worried the SEC is appealing, ... But it's a cliffhanger question, guys. When we get the rest of the question, we can answer it. But have I missed anything in chat? What's on your mind, brother?
Well, I was just saying it's probably about XRP, because that's what I saw on Twitter. Is there a bunch of people being like, "Oh, the SEC looks like it's going to appeal the XRP ruling," and I just go, "Okay." That's just my reaction. I just go, "Okay."
Meaning that they would continue pursuing XRP as a security specifically?
No, I mean, they can't. The judge is already that's gone and passed, but it's about the amount of money that there would be getting Ripple to pay.
Yeah, so there was also another.
Isn't it 150 million or something like that?
Yeah, but they wanted like 2 billion or something crazy. I forget what the exact number. It was a very large.
It was. Then it came down to here, and now it's allegedly going to be, appealed to change again. However, the last thing that happened was the SEC immediately agreeing to allow the fine to be stayed, which the speed with which they agreed to not collect made me think they are concerned about their ability to collect it all and are trying to like play nice now and make it seem like they're going to back off, and you're getting a great deal not having to pay for this, original giant fee. But I don't know, to me, and this is something I wanted to pick Michael's brain more about, but to me, it seems more like an immediate ramification of Chevron being gone for them.
Yeah, they just wanted to get out with a win as quickly and easily as they could before potentially they don't get anything.
And they collected, what, $5.8 billion last year in fines?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Damn.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm very curious to see now, like in the year of, it would be the first full year of this taking effect would be for 2025's calendar year. I'm very interested to see, because theoretically, right, it should go up. There's more things. There's more people who have broken the rules. And there has been a lot more time for investigations to take place. But I'm very curious to see if, the dichotomy of that increasing, also with their teeth being kicked out, how that affects their their cash flow.
Their teeth being kicked out.
Well, plus, I guess, regardless of who wins, we will have a new administration. And so there will theoretically be a chance for Gary to either be ousted or to leave. So tradition dictates that he would go. Obviously, Trump has declared that he will fire him. He can. It's just not that easy. So that would be really interesting. What would be really interesting is if he won and Gary didn't want to leave, and the firing turned into a fight.
Yeah.
Because, like, just for the record, the reason that it's hard is because it's by design. You can't, or we shouldn't, just have one person running a government who's in charge of unilaterally everything, because that's not how government is supposed to work. And
well, that's not how a democratic republic is supposed to work.
yes, thank you. Yes, there are governments that
a government can work like that. You just don't want it to.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah.
You may think you want it because, like, your favorite guy is the one who wants to do it like that right now, but that guy won't be around forever. So consider something farther in the head in the future than 5 minutes. Elon could absolutely not be the chair of the SEC.
Yeah, did you see that comment?
Shit. That's another problem. You can't just nominate your favorite person to do, like, really intricate and complicated jobs. It's like, I always get annoyed when someone tells me, like, which celebrity they want to vote for president. It's like, you want that person just for the reason that you liked that movie to be in charge of the military?
Yes.
Tom Hanks has global appeal.
Dude, did you see Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando? He was the military. Like, he didn't even have to reload. Could you imagine how good we'd be at fighting if we didn't have to reload?
A Schwarzenegger Hanks ticket, unstoppable. Unstoppable.
Yeah, unbeatable.
Maybe the only thing better could be if
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger ran with Danny DeVito as secret brothers, like they were in that movie Twins. That would maybe beat it. Honestly.
Yeah. No,
honestly, I think Danny DeVito would be a great president. It would just be eggs being delivered to people and just saying, here is your egg in these trying times, and then people would be great.
But none of these people would be good presidents. The problem is that someone who likes that person has seen a politically oriented tweet from them and decided they now want them to run the country, despite having no experience and no clue what they're doing.
Yeah, and just so you know, the qualifications for somebody to become a chair of the SEC, they have to first be a commissioner in the SEC. And that is a difficult job to get. That you kind of got to be a career, not a politician, but a career regulator to even have a shot at, honestly, truly. So, if Elon wants to start, he maybe could get a position as an intern there. I think that would be interesting. And he might actually enjoy that.
To see Elon Musk as an intern.
I think he would enjoy saying, I am an intern at the SEC. I think he would ironically love that.
He probably would.
No, it just shows that you don't really know what you're asking for, and that's okay. Luckily, one person doesn't decide. But I thought the Elon efficiency thing was also funny because it's like freshly on the heels of him red pilling himself, and then also spending $40+ billion on Twitter. And I don't know if you've looked lately at what Twitter's valuation is, but it's not $44 billion. So efficiency.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, to your point, Evan, there's not that many commissioners, so it would be super interesting. And obviously there is a particular commissioner that I think we could all agree would be fantastic. And in the event that,
Yeah, Hester. Yeah,
Hester.
We love
Hester
her.
Pierce. The one thing that would be interesting too, Evan, is just because Hester is not a Democrat.
No, she's not. So it would be a Trump presidency that would bring Hester to the fore.
Well, or we're seeing a really interesting political theory discussion that I was listening to about the state of this right now is that actually Democrat versus Republican has almost nothing to do with it because you have a lot of people on either sides jumping ship. You have a ton of prominent Republicans endorsing Harris, and you have lots of prominent you have lots of disenfranchised Democratic voters who feel betrayed by their party jumping ship to vote for Trump, which is a really interesting thing. And we haven't seen like a cross party lines shakeup from the voter base and also from elected officials at the same time in a very long time. It's very interesting. But I would put forward that it is completely in the realm of possibility that even if Harris was elected and wanted to do something to like, hey, listen, I don't want to do a whole bunch of policy deciding. We saw one statement from her in the past week now that kind of is the only time she's personally mentioned it, where she said, yay, digital assets. I want to, allow that to be a thing and be explored. Kind of gives you the vibe like, okay, listen, she's not super interested in being like in there personally shaping policy on this kind of thing. But, might be incentivized to just nominate someone who's going to do that and do a better job and seems like a more popular choice. And I would posit that she could come out and say stuff, but if you read the Twitter comments, no one cares and no one believes her. I would say the thing, if you want to talk about like we follow actions, we don't follow words, nominating Hester for SEC chair would be one thing she could do without saying anything else that everyone would be like, okay.
Honestly, after that, everyone like that's all she would really have to do. Because I get the impression too that Kamala is like towards crypto. She's like, I don't know this. I don't really understand it. I'm just gonna like let someone else deal with this, and I'm just not gonna go after it. That's just my hope. I hope based on her comment that she made. But it just doesn't seem like something she really cares about at all. And so she's just gonna let other people do it for her.
Yes.
She has other things she cares about more that she's more familiar with, and also like Hester Pierce picking, even though she's a Republican, would still kind of go in line with like Kamala's in the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party does like to put like women, people of color into positions as well, and that would match the ethos there that the Democratic Party likes to do. And so Hester Pierce is a woman, and also she's super smart and great at her job. So like, right? Why not?
She has a long.
And also you then get somebody in there who then gets to do the thing that Kamala does not want to do.
Yeah, no, she's got a great long track record of all sorts of things that we as an industry would probably enjoy and should support, which would be cool. But yeah, it would just be it'd be a power move too, from the point of view of like a Democratic president nominating a Republican to run a department. You don't really see that often. It's not impossible, and it does happen. But
wouldn't that be nice?
Would be interesting.
Wouldn't it be nice to see the parties working together?
Yeah, wouldn't it be cool to see government function?
Wow.
Concept. Hey guys, we got a good question from someone asking about Coinbase and their information seeking. This is something that happens on a lot of exchanges that is sometimes called KYC or Know Your Customer. And it can be different in different places depending on where you live. And it can be different depending upon the kind of services that you hope to get from a particular exchange. So generally speaking, you got to give some to get some, but what are some of the things you guys have had to give up to get access to a trading platform? They usually sometimes they want your address, right?
Yep.
Sometimes they want to see your ID, right?
Yep.
I don't remember honestly being asked about my income on Coinbase, but is that something people are asking for these days?
No,
I've been asked it on Coinbase.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, the way the question is phrased is not specifically like gross or net income. It's how much do you imagine having available to invest per year?
Got it.
It was like a poll to try to figure out how much money you were going to be using the platform for, which then kind of, and granted, I set my Coinbase up years ago and I've just been sort of kicked down the line, but Kraken does the same thing. They try to like figure out how much money you're going to be messing with. And then they'll recommend, like, okay, well, you probably only need this level of because Kraken has different levels of KYC, where like you just show your driver's license if you want to use like less than $1,000 or something like that. But then, if you want to set up direct deposit or you want to connect your bank account, then you got to do more and all that sort of stuff.
The other thing too is if you want to do options trading on Coinbase, so like using leverage and saying you're going to long this and short this and stuff, you do need to provide like, hey, here's the amount of money I typically make in a year, because then they need to know if you can cover your positions. So yeah, but I think that's about all the information: address, age, some demographic data, where you live.
Sometimes
ID.
a picture to make sure your ID matches who you are, who you say you are.
Yeah, ID, and then annual income. It's typically about it.
Will,
But that's
really
also
quickly-
true for like your Fidelities and your Morgan Stanleys and your yada yada yada. That's standard. Not like some crypto hacky thing that's going to scam you. No, it's just standard. Know your customer. That's what KYC stands for, and it's meant to prevent fraud and money laundering.
Yeah, and it helps them remain compliant with all the other laws, rules, and regulations that they have to keep up with in order to offer you the services that they do the way that they do. I would say it's a good thing to have options at all places on the spectrum for people who want to use crypto. Somebody who has that kind of security that Coinbase can provide, but also somebody who can just go on a decentralized exchange that doesn't need to know who they are, where they're from, and let them change their money. Both of those are important.
Yeah,
Add something, brother? Because I have a question from the audience.
Well, just because it's topical. There was a news headline pretty recently about options being allowed for the Bitcoin spot ETFs. Will, do you want to overview that for people like me who still to this day don't have the firmest grasp? I mean, I know what puts and calls are, but like, I'm not the guy who's going to teach you about stock options. So, can you help?
No.
Damn
but
it.
yeah, sure. Damn it. But yeah, and actually it's interesting. So DeFi Daddy helped me with this too, because when I saw the news and everyone was reporting on it, I was like, I think this is a top signal. Why is everybody so excited about like more paper Bitcoin? And so let me explain that. And first of all, it's not, right? So it's not just paper Bitcoin, if you know what I'm saying when I say that. So paper Bitcoin, just real quick, so you guys understand that, is futures trading that we got 5 years ago. Basically it was you just saying, and you could go to the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. It's the largest options trading market in the world, called the CME, which you may or may not have heard. And so Bitcoin and Ethereum futures contracts have been around for a long time through the CME. And basically it was just like you just basically going to them and saying like, I'm going to make a bet that Bitcoin is going to go down or Bitcoin is going to go up. And that's how you long and shorted, but that never affected the supply of Bitcoin. So you never like removed or added Bitcoin supply to the market, and it didn't affect the price. So you got exposure to Bitcoin's price without having to move it in any way, shape, or form. And so that is also called options trading. That is shorting. That is longing, right? And so I saw like, oh, hey, this Bitcoin, BlackRock's IBIT, which is their Bitcoin ETF product, will now allow futures trading on top of it, right? The SEC approved it. And I was like, okay, like why is everybody so excited about this? It's options trading, so therefore it's paper Bitcoin. And DeFi Daddy actually corrected me on Twitter. And I then went and looked up and verified, absolutely correct, that the options contracts, when they settle, so when they execute, when they finish, they will settle in actual Bitcoin, because the difference with the Chicago Mercantile Exchange is that it's literally just a paper contract that says, hey, you're placing a bet, essentially. It's like going up to a horse race and being like, horse number 5, nah, see, yeah. And now, though, with IBIT, it's you're saying, hey, I want to place a bet on Bitcoin. They go, okay, cool. And then they take a share from the IBIT, or however many shares is equivalent to the size of your bet, and place it basically tied to your paper bet. So it does cause the execution of Bitcoin being procured through the normal Bitcoin ETF process, and then once it executes. So it will have an effect on the supply of Bitcoin, and that is a good thing, because there are a ton of financial institutions, particularly hedge funds, that all they do, or the majority of their business, is options trading. It's not buying gold, it's not buying Bitcoin, it's not buying regular spot ETF products. All they do is options. And so this opens up the door for even more of the traditional financial world to step through and go, oh, cool, you finally have the products that I like to use. This is great. So it could bring in way more money and reduce the supply available of Bitcoin on the market, and potentially one day Ethereum, if that ever gets approved, which I imagine it would. And that's it.
Thank you for the explanation. Do you have since we're talking about leverage for this, futures, options, I think we could maybe talk about leverage a little bit because a lot of the same platforms offer these tools. Who do either of you guys do leverage trading? I really don't. And when I do it on KuCoin, which I feel like is kind of a level 2 thing. And I don't know anywhere else that I would recommend that folks do it. Do you guys trade leverage at all? Or do you do much trading futures and options?
No, I don't. Well, the thing is like I've longed and I've shorted stocks. I've never shorted crypto. And I've only ever longed crypto a couple of times. The thing is for me is like in the stock market, you get things to move a handful of percentage points. So, if you really want to make money off of it, yeah, sure, maybe use some leverage and some margin, maybe like some 2x margin. So instead of a 3x move, you get, or instead of a 3% move, you made 6%, right? That's something a little bit more measurable. In the cryptocurrency space, you wake up one day, a coin's up 15%. You go to sleep and wake up another day, the coin's down 35%. Like I'm like,
that auto leverage, baby.
Auto leverage, and so it's like I don't need to have the heart palpitations associated with that. So I don't really feel a need, but I have done it over in Solana's DeFi ecosystem. I've used Drift. I used Drift as an option. I also have it set up. I'm an approved margin trader on Coinbase, which sounds exclusive. It's not. You just need a certain amount of money on the platform and say you make XYZ money and bada boom, bada bing. And so I have that set up in case there's something I feel particularly strong about. And maybe I'll do that. I've done it once or twice just to play around with it with a small amount of money. But yeah, I just don't really feel a need to do it with crypto. Because if you're playing with, and I don't mean to say this to sound like a douchebag, I play with much larger size positions than most people. There are plenty of people that play with bigger positions, but like I don't feel the need to use margin. But if you're playing with like a few $1,000 here or there, and you want to turn that into like a few $10,000, maybe $10,000, and do it kind of, leverage could be something to explore. However, it's not all sunshine and roses. So the last thing I'll say is, if let's say you have $1,000 position, and let's say you can use crazy amounts of margin. Let's say you use 10x margin, and you place a long on, I don't know, altcoin A. And altcoin A then goes down by 10%. Your $1,000 is gone. It's all gone on that 10% move because it went down by 10%, but you used 10x leverage. 10 times 10 is 100% of your position. All of your money is gone, right? And in crypto, that can happen in a split second. So, be very, very, very careful.
Yeah, absolutely. If you wanted to, I did look up a little bit if you just wanted to get familiar with the tool, Coinbase may be the most accessible place. They offer up to 10x leverage for futures with a minimum order size of $10. So if you just wanted to learn the tool and see how quickly you can get liquidated, then take your $10 bill over to Coinbase.com and check it out. But let me tell you what, if you want an education that is valuable for just $10, we got a lot of things you could spend that money on. Or if you're just feeling like supporting the show instead of throwing it away on a bet, why don't you buy a mug and help us get Will out of his other full-time job to be here doing the show more? That's what we need from you. And we will make a video on leverage trading where you can watch us explore the tool without having to spend any money. We also got this question here where we get this a lot. Someone asked us, a couple folks have asked us, okay, hey, I'm curious what you think about these tokens. I've only got X amount of money. If you only had this much money and you were entering the crypto market, what would you invest in? And this is a really fun question to answer because we really can't answer it for you. Only you can answer this question based on your specific risk profile, how much time you have, how much you can afford to lose in terms of your attention, and also in terms of that money. And then, like, how active do you want to be? There are so many different questions. Do you have any experience or acumen with financial markets, with trading? Is there an industry that you have inside insight or knowledge into? Maybe you're a game developer. Maybe you're a computer scientist. Maybe you're a teacher who works all day during the week and you can only trade on weekends. All those things are going to factor into what is the best investment for you. To help you get closer to answering that question for ourselves, yourself, in addition to hanging out with us on the show and doing the Discord, we can try to answer it. I would say some things that are important to think about is, have you read the Bitcoin white paper yet? Do you understand what blockchain actually is and why it matters? Or have you had a conversation with maybe like Chat GPT or a friend in our community to try and wrap your mind around, like, is this stuff really here for the long term? Unless and until you can get conviction for that, pretty much anything you're going to invest in with any amount of money is going to be a lottery ticket. You are gambling. You're hoping to get lucky. You're not really building conviction that will allow you to start a strategy. So that's step one in your strategy, is you got to understand what this stuff is, why it matters, and then you can start evaluating any project you see with a better set of criteria. Oh, this thing, it's going to be a decentralized AI gaming platform of the decentralized future, whatever. You'll know if that's for you or not, because you have a deeper understanding of what it actually is or isn't. And then I would say learn the history a little bit too. Another thing that you can only do with
that Evan just pitched is not for any of you.
No, it's not for anybody. Don't touch that project. It's not for you. Then learn the history though, man. If you see something like that, you're gonna hear those buzzwords and be like, wow, it sounds like all these problems that everybody tells me crypto can solve. But because you haven't been hanging out in the space for a long time, you don't know that it's a pile of junk. But that's why you need friends like us, because we've been here. We'll tell you that any crypto mining company that wants you to use your phone to mine crypto is not worth your time.
Oh God, no! Don't do it.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
It's not real.
There are lots of little things like that anybody can learn, but we know because we've been here, or our friends know because they've been here. So number one, understand what it is, why it matters. Number two, get into a community with others who are curious about it that you can learn from. And number three, I would say, is learn the tools. Don't buy crypto until you have bought a little bit on an exchange and then tried to turn it back into cash, because you don't want to not know how to do that when the market is going like this and you've invested more than you can afford to lose. Like, that's not the time to learn that skill. So those are my 3 tips. And I'm going to kick it off to these guys and hear what they say. Will, you laughing fool.
I'm laughing at just the Alex. No. It's in the comment section. If you're watching us on YouTube, you won't see it, I don't think. But it's just like, yeah, this coin looks right, doesn't it? Alex just, no.
The hammer, baby. I want to see, can Christina crochet you a hammer that has
Alex Anthony, I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at Alex's reaction. I guess everything that Evan said is correct. The other things I'd add on is, in order to find the coins for yourself. So I'll start to answer this question by saying, here are the coins that I am looking to buy. It involves Aerodrome, Jupiter, and Ondo. And there are different reasons why. I really like decentralized finance. That's my favorite use case to find altcoins, because you have an extra means of tools to verify if they're being used. Like DeFi Llama, you can go and see how much money is actually being used within these protocols. And if that money is going up, that means user adoption is going up. That means it's actually providing value to its targeted audience, which means it's valuable. Yeah. It's easy, boil it down to, is this valuable, and can I prove, is it valuable? Money is being put on chain. People are using it. It must provide value. And those are 3 coins that are certainly doing that. And 2 of them are in very hot ecosystems. Jupiter's and Solana, Aerodrome's and Base. They're both very key pieces of infrastructure. And then Ondo is, on the front of everyone's mind. It has every single influencer almost talking about it. And it's the leader in a very hot space, tokenization of real world assets. So those are my answers to those questions. I like Avalanche too. I like Sui a lot also, but it's overbought at the moment. But to start answering some of these questions yourself is, don't just go blindly buy things, because that is going to end up in you hopefully getting lucky once, but overall getting burned a few more times than not, right? So go and verify some of these things. Go and use some tools. We have resources that can tell you what tools to use, but go and start asking yourself the question, okay, what narratives are hot? Okay, how do I find out that answer? I can go on CoinMarketCap, I can go on CoinGecko, and I can go to the categories tab at the top and see which categories are the hottest. Is it AI? Is it Web3 gaming? Is it yada, 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 right? Okay, let me open those up and see what the top coins are in those categories. Okay, cool. Now I have a short list of maybe, let's just say 5 or 10 coins to go and research. And then go and look up some other tools. Go like, okay, if these are DeFi coins, I can go on something like DeFi Llama. Or maybe I can take this coin and put it into something called Token Terminal. Or maybe I can take this coin and I'm trying to think of another really good site. You can put it into DApp Radar. There's so many resources, right? We have
and these are all resources that you'll learn by hanging out with people over time.
Yeah. And you'll learn them by hanging out with us. And you can start to verify like, okay, cool. Like people, the growth of people coming on and using this is going up for maybe 2 of these coins. And for the other 3 on my short list, the number is steady or down, right? So let me go and invest in the ones that have the fundamental growth. And maybe you also add a few coins to do your own research that you hear in social media, right? But the thing is like, I have also heard coins on social media that have ended up being big winners. And there are so many that are also just like rug pulls and scams and all that other crap. And most of it's crap, but there are little gold nuggets. So yeah, I would say it's still worth like, okay, I'm hearing about this coin. Let me add it on my list, but let me go and plug it into those 2 or 3 tools and see if it's actually worth investing in, or if it's something I'm most likely going to lose my money on. And so that's how you start asking yourself those kinds of questions. And the last thing I'll say too for deciding about an altcoin to invest in is it in a hot ecosystem? Because if you I'll back up. If you go to CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko and you say, okay, cool, what's a hot category? AI. Click onto an AI coin, you're going to get like 1,000 coins, right? One way to start weeding out which coins to pay attention to are the ones that are not in hot ecosystems. And when I say ecosystem, I mean like, is it in Solana? Is it in Ethereum? Is it in Avalanche? Is it in Sui? Is it in Toncoin, right? And the hottest ecosystems are the ones getting the most money. So your first step, even before you do all this potentially, is to figure out which ones are the hottest, which ones are getting the most money on chain. And one thing you can do is, I've said this tool a few times, DeFi Llama. Go and take Solana into DeFi Llama and see if the chart is up and to the right for it's called TVL, the amount of money being put on chain. Or Avalanche, compare it to Avalanche, and compare it to Hedera, and compare it to Near Protocol and Sui, some of the top leaders, right? And you can watch where the money is going, and you as an investor want to follow the money. And you go, okay, cool, Solana's hot, Base is hot, Sui's hot. Let me look at those 3 ecosystems for the AI coins. And that's how you go from looking at a list of having 10,000 altcoins to a list of 2,000 altcoins to a list of 100 to a list of maybe just 5, right? And that's how you do that in about 4 or 5 steps. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Also, Irish Prince, I do join DeFi Daddy. Also, it's funny you said fatty. DeFi Fatty.
Oh, no.
On his lives every now and again. Probably like every few weeks or so I hop on. But yeah, I'm there. DeFi Fatty.
Oh my God. Thank you, Will. That's a fantastic answer. That's the kind of answer that like when this goes up to YouTube later, this would be a stream to rewatch and take some notes on, because all those tools you mentioned are helpful. The little tips and tricks are helpful. That's how you can learn what to do from how somebody else researches, not necessarily just to copy what they're buying. Alex, I want to kick it to you in a second to fill us in on this back and forth you've been having in the comments, because I'm dying to know what token this is. But just want to quickly say, for anybody who's curious about our research process, we got a couple resources for you. Here on TikTok and on our YouTube page, we've got a long form tutorial that takes you through this in-depth, bare minimum, how to do research on a token with a couple different tools. It's a 30-minute video, but the process, once you get it, it's like a 5-minute process. You can do it on the toilet kind of thing. Make it your own. Will has created a research guide that has examples, questions. It's like the done for you template that he actually uses for this. And you can buy it as a digital download, use it for yourself. Plus, we've got lots of people who have their favorite tools, their tips, their tricks, more tutorials, yada, yada, in the Discord server. This is the place to find it. If you can't, DM us and we'll get you connected for it. But Alex, are you gonna tell me what token this is that gets the no hammer today and why?
So, I mean, getting the no hammer is not really news.
No. Also, it's not hard to get the no hammer from Alex. In fact, it's the auto response.
Yes. No, okay. I'm I have a lot of concerns, and I wanted to at least explain, like, verbally outside of the confines of these little comments, which is really hard to have a conversation with. Just like, okay, why I'm absolutely and unequivocally not going to keep this on my radar. I'm not going to look at it. So here's the, hold on, let me flip this little deal around. All right.
I'm so in suspense. Okay, there we go.
So this is the token. It's called Lithium, LIF, or
Okay.
LITH. There, not F. Here's the chart. This is all of it.
Oh, that looks like a good chart. I'm joking.
It's rough.
I want to point out a couple things. If you buy it down here and you're willing to just flip it like for a note on a no reason pump like this, there's a chance. I just want to be abundantly clear. It's not going back here. Okay? It's not. There's like, I spent a few minutes, ever since you mentioned it, kind of going through it and its social media. Their social media is wild to me because not only are they still active, they're not talking about shit that has to do with them. They're just talking about the news. Here's some shit about D-Gods. Here's Trump's NFT collection. Like it.
Interesting.
There's some Bored Ape stuff. Like here's some stuff about more Bored Apes.
Talk about my monkey pictures. Do it.
Here's some punk stuff. Oh, look, more Bored Apes. Like, okay. If we want to make the argument, where do I go? Here we go. If we want to make the argument that like, okay, it's part of a narrative that has some attention, sure, it could be, according to their bumper sticker. So yeah, harness the power of AI for crowd wisdom and expert guidance. I'll just say a couple things here. This, stupid. Why would I buy a crypto to do this when this is the entire value prop for Grok? So
harness the power of AI in crowd wisdom. Yeah, totally agree.
If I think that this slogan is valuable, I'm just going to use Grok because that's what it does. I'm going to use Lunar Crush. I'm going to use any number of free AI tools that I don't have to buy a crypto for to crowdsource openly, available public information.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
okay, Alex, well, what about the daily chart? Forget about the use case. How's it look on the daily?
Like it's down 22% today. So
can you show me the right side of it as well? Or left side? I just want to see that. Okay, so we have lower lows and lower highs still at a time where Bitcoin's going up and altcoins are starting to rally. So
here's the month.
Yeah.
This thing has a market cap of 800 grand.
That's rough. That's really rough.
Listen, like I said, you could absolutely risk it for the biscuit here. Okay? And maybe you'll catch a completely meaningless, not inspired by anything real pump where it fixes itself because this thing is so small that if the right person tweets about it, right, or enough people decide, they're going to gamble on this garbage, then they're going to, it could recover and then get out. My point is that's not how I operate. So this is a hard no and not something I'm going to keep an eye on because there's absolutely no reason for me to be interested in this. There's no reason for me to think that this has any like longevity at all. This is a dead project that's trying to stay relevant. Here's its year. So yeah, you're 100% right. Like, had you bought this absolute trash over here, it ran for absolutely no reason in March, just because it was a crypto that probably had AI written on its brochure and everything under the sun pumped in March. But that's it, right? Like, the reason it then aggressively died after that and has been going down and has in fact dropped 98% since March is literally because there's nothing going for it, and this was a fluke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I don't know about you guys, but unless I'm spending time like an hour with my friends in the meme coin casino, I don't like to add tokens to my portfolio that I need to watch every day. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not an investment that I like to make.
Yeah, when I started this bull cycle in 2023, I had like 6 coins that like then very quickly turned into like 20 coins again, which is so easy to do because you're like, oh, this one sounds good and this one sounds good. I think you know. And now when I buy my altcoins again, which should hopefully be by the end of this week, I think. We'll see. I'm gonna get like 2.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. Like I put out a tweet that said I'm looking to load up on Ondo, Jupiter, and Aerodrome. I think I even said it earlier in this live too.
Yeah.
Aerodrome, Ondo, and Jupiter. And then I was like, and maybe I grab one meme for like 5% of my position, just for funsies. But like as a wee lad, I understood the value of $1 because I worked minimum wage, and then I started my own business in high school and college too. Started making good money there. And then as I've gotten older, and you get more responsibilities, and then you just realize like how much you really kind of need money in order to like build a stable financial foundation for yourself. And maybe you get a few wins along the way. And I'm just kind of at the point where I'm like, I don't need that 100x. I don't need that 50x. It'd be great, but it's like, I don't need to risk it because like my understanding of like a timeline and like just getting a 3x here and then later on another 3x here and later on another 2x or 3x here. Then that like 10 years down the line, just do a 2x and a 3x and a 3x here over the course of like 6 years. And the amount of money you can have because of compounding interest it's such a safer way to be able to get to the point where you can retire early.
And it takes less time.
Yeah, and you don't have to put yourself in a position where you have to get into a coin that gets rug pulled or a coin that gets hacked and all that kind of stuff. And the ability to just like, okay, I've 3x'd my money, and then you wait for things to cool off, and you 3x again. Now you've 9x'd your money. You 3x that, you've 27x'd your money. You 3x that, you have what?
It's almost 100%. You're at like 90.
Yeah, you've 81x'd your money. You 3x that, you're in multiple hundreds of percentiles essentially at that point. That's great.
This is me.
Great,
That's his reaction to what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we please, this is me. Can we please just work on moving the fucking narrative in crypto away from just saying the phrase only a 3x as if that's not fucking bonkers?
No, Alex, we cannot.
Guys.
We cannot, nor will we, because we are moon boys at heart. And while we may be responsible, we yearn for the stars.
Listen to me. Listen to me. Sweet William. Fucking imagine. Let me pull my eyes out. Imagine having the conversation anywhere else in an investment sense, like, I don't need 100,000% increase on I'm cool with 1,000%. It would be fine if it was just 300%. Like my brother in Christ, pretty much everyone that buys crypto ends up underwater. Like for every one person that makes a bunch of money, 1,000 people just lose whatever they put in because they followed influencers and they bought a bunch of bullshit that didn't mean anything. And now here I am pulling my eyes out every day. Getting 300% on an investment is fucking incredible. And if you do that, you won. And that's amazing. And take some profit and buy yourself a dinner because holy shit, no one gets that. That's not a thing that happens like out in the world regularly. Look at like the best of all time. We talk about how Nancy Pelosi is the ultimate inside trader. Go look at her hit rate. If she's the pinnacle of inside trading and you're saying, I would be cool if I was just 200% better than she is. Like, yeah, that would be amazing. And all I want is to break out of the thing in crypto that pushes us to use the phrase only 3 to 10x. Like,
yeah, but the thing is that I totally understand everything you're saying. But the thing is that's the reality in crypto. But the reason why most people lose is because we're emotional. It goes back to what I say all the time,
Yes.
our monkey brain. We are emotional and we are unreasonable. And we allow our emotions and our unreasonable nature to lose our money to people who have learned certain lessons. And hopefully the people we're chatting with here can learn certain lessons, because like, it's totally fine if you even just get a 50% return on a coin and sell it, and then it continues to blow up, because a 50% return in the regular stock market is crazy, but it takes a very long time and a lot of painful lessons for you as an investor and a trader to then walk away and still look at that chart and be like, you know, I could have made 300% and I only made 50%, but that's awesome.
But
and then you walk away smiling. That takes experience.
It does.
You're 100% right. It takes experience. That's why I hate the narrative and the talking points so much, is because people come into crypto a lot of the time because of this idea of getting rich quick. Minimal effort, maximum output. I'm going to throw $1,000 in and I'm going to walk away as a millionaire next week. It's happened before. It could happen to me. And that's why we're here. And then you're 1,000 times more likely to, one, take obscene risk.
Yes.
That like all of a sudden you're a person who's never invested in anything before, and you pick the most volatile asset class with the riskiest thing in that asset class being advised to you by a guy in a fucking hat who was like, trust me, bro. And that's what your entrance into the world of investing is. And that same guy is telling you, don't settle for a 5x. You can do better. You can do better. Meanwhile, that guy is routinely selling for 30%, 40%, which is still an obscene return. Like that, you just think about before crypto came into the picture with investments, and people were out there begging you to invest in the S&P 500 because of an 8% year over year average rate of return.
Yeah.
For all of those reasons, that's why. It's because Will is 100% correct. It takes experience. You have to be able to like bear with this, and all that stuff. You have to be able to like recognize the nuance. You have to be able to put things in context. You have to be able to look at an investment and decide like, okay, does this make any sense to me? Do I even know what my risk tolerance is? Do I even know what my ideal portfolio is? Do I have any clue how much money I actually have to play with that I can afford to invest into something? Do I have any idea how to make these decisions? No, because I've never done it before. So the way to get into it is not to buy $1,000 worth of some AI crypto that some guy on TikTok was like, this is going to rip. You can trust me. I've been here for years. Okay. I've been driving for years. I've been driving cars on the road for years. It doesn't mean I can drive F1. And that's what this essentially is. You know, like I've been going to the grocery store my whole life, and now all of a sudden I'm on the Nürburgring about to drive 200 miles an hour, and I think I'm just going to crush it because I've been on the road for 10 years before in a Honda Civic. You know, like it doesn't make any sense. That's why it upsets me, just because Will's not wrong at all. But Will has a million times more experience and way more context and so many more things that have gone into him building this risk tolerance. He knows exactly how much money he can afford to risk on something. That's why he's so calm, cool, and collected when he makes a video that everyone flames him for, where he's like, I'm de-risking because of XYZ. It's like, no, this is a guy who's executing an investment strategy that he has built over years with lots of reading and research. And it might not be your investment strategy, which is why his decision to de-risk by selling coin XYZ right now makes no sense to you. But, you know, like you're proving the point that you shouldn't take financial advice from somebody on TikTok. If you take any financial advice from me, it's that you should learn how to figure out what your investment profile looks like as an investor. Because if you don't know how to basically answer that question, you know, you say thoughts on crypto, whatever. And if I'm like, what are your thoughts on it? If you have no foundation to answer that question, don't buy anything, because you have no idea what you're doing, and you're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt.
Two things I want to add here is One, there was actually a comment. I actually really liked to see it. There was a comment on one of my more recent, like, hey, this is what Bitcoin's doing, XYZ, like an update video on the price of Bitcoin and where I thought things were going to go. And one comment was this dude coming in, and he's like, it was like, oh, this guy's still making videos. Stop watching him when he sold the bottom. I didn't, but I got damn near close to selling the bottom, but I didn't quite. So fuck you. But anyway, and it was like, the general gist was, yeah, I like him for the news, but like, he's always wrong on price. And then there was a comment underneath of someone being like, essentially agreeing. And then another comment underneath of someone agreeing. And I commented in, and I was like, hey guys, I actually love this. I was like, do not listen to an influencer about the price of Bitcoin and crypto or any asset and take it as your word, because I'm a human, everyone's a human. I'm going to be wrong sometimes. Also, how I read the market going to be different from how you read the market. Do not listen and take an influencer's word for. And this was much shorter. It was in a TikTok comment, but I was like, do not listen to influencers as if we are oracles. Take it as a data point. Add it as something to consider. Maybe there's something I'm looking at you're not, and that might be valuable. And then go and do your own analysis. I was like, I love this stuff, guys. This is great. And then I got like what comment of just like, yeah. But anyway. Going back to the conversation we were having just before, so everyone do your own research. Going back to the comment we made just before is, you'll like hear a coin that you'll hear the story of like this coin 100x and this person made this much money. They put in $1,000, they made $100,000, right? They walked away. We all hear those stories. Happens every single market, right? But by the time you hear it, you can't get that return off that same coin. So many people, oh, here, that coin gave this person 1,000x. I'll dive in. It'll give me 1,000x. That's not how markets work, right? Because you have a coin that's a really small market cap, like maybe $100,000 market cap, and then it goes up to $1 billion market cap. The person, the two people that were buying here made a ton of money. They tweet about it, right? That's the story you hear. But when you buy at $1 billion market cap, you need so many more billions of dollars. They needed, a few millions of dollars to make a lot of money. You need quite a few billions of dollars to make a lot of money. So that's one thing I see new people make as a mistake a lot of the times. Being like, well, it did it before, it'll do it again, right? Like, no, that's not how the math works. That's not how market cap works.
Can I give you some numbers for that at the end of your point? Sure. Remind me.
Yeah.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, just to contextualize this claim, because people are like, well, how do you know it's not going to go up again? Check this out. This is from Chainalysis. This is a 2022 study, and I have a hunch, and I bet these three will confirm that the numbers have only gotten worse since then. They looked at all the new tokens that launched in that year. There were 1 million tokens that launched, 1.1 million.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, this is a survey from DEX's centralized exchanges, the major ones in our space. 1.1 million tokens, but they only counted for this study the 40,000 tokens that had more than 10 swaps and 4 consecutive trading days in a week after their launch. So from that 1 million, only 3% had 10 swaps or more. From that 3%, most of those tokens dropped 90% in the first week after launch. I say most of them, many of them. It was the biggest group. 24% of those tokens, 0.9% of all tokens launched, got any traction after their first week, meaning that if they had a peak, they went down forever. They never came back up to a new all-time high. And many of them, 24%, were just pump and dump schemes. They did the further math to see, like, somebody in the comments asked, how easy would it be to manipulate the market? What would you do? You would do this. You'd make a pump and dump scheme. You'd start with $1 million because you got $1 million laying around. You would get some kind of influence. You'd build a following or build a network of people who have one. And then you'd launch a meme coin and you'd attach it to a cool narrative, AI, whatever, or, the first drawing ever by Beeple. I don't know, Donald Trump's poop. I don't know. You find the narrative, you do the meme coin, you tell people that, right? I buy it. The most prolific pump and dumpers do hundreds of these tokens a year. And now that we've got tools like pump.fun that make it easier than ever for anybody to launch a meme coin. The stats coming out of pump.fun reveal that 99+% of all new tokens launched are scams. They're schemes. They're designed to separate people from their money. They hit a high and then they rug, just like this. Many of them are honeypots. So the odds that even that cool crypto that your influencer shot out on a live and said, oh, it's, you know, it's DPIN, it's DSI, it's whatever. The odds are most likely it's a pump and dump. It's a scam, or it's just not going anywhere. So, you know, be wary. Get your no hammers ready. Right, guys?
It's always safe to have the no hammer first as opposed to the yes hammer.
Yeah. You can shoot first and ask questions later in crypto. That's why we like it. Shoot meaning kill it. And then, you know.
And then
it's their body.
Resuscitate it.
You revive it. Yeah. No problem. Yeah. Exactly.
I think that we have a good opportunity with Sui right now to kind of maybe put some of this into perspective and then give like a real world example that is unfolding right before our eyes. Because the question just came in for Will, you know, like at what point are you going to buy Sui? And I'm not going to answer for Will, but I would be willing to bet that what I'm about to say is exactly how he would answer this for himself. And then Will, you know, correct me if I'm wrong or fill in the blank. I'm going to make a video today specifically about Sui, just because in the past week, it's up over 100% in the last week.
Yeah. 3x'd in 2 months.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. So here's just a few things to keep in mind. If Sui is now on your radar because it 3x'd in 2 months, stop first. Like first thing you need to do is stop.
No.
Just
first
wait.
of all,
wait a second. I'm speaking to every single person now who is thoughts on Sui.
Thinking about it. Yeah.
Should I get it? Like I'm now thinking about it. Step 1, stop.
Yeah.
The first thing you need to be aware of is that Sui's up 3x in 2 months, and there's a lot of people who bought it 3 months ago. And those people are waiting or selling. They're waiting for more people like you, the people who have, you know, or the proverbial you here, not you specifically, whoever asked the question. They're waiting for someone to be like, oh, it's up. And someone on TikTok just told me you could do another 10x. I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
You have now become, as Sonoran just said, exit liquidity. You are actively buying a thing that's on a rocket ship up. Could it continue to go up? Absolutely. It absolutely could. Every day that goes by, it is less and less and less likely. Not to say that it cannot happen. I'm not speaking in an absolute, but it may not. And every day that it continues to go up is another day that it becomes more likely to stop. Nothing says it's going to go up forever. Nothing says it's going to do another 3x or even another 30%. It could, but you have to remember that the second all of the attention falls on something like this, everything comes out of the woodwork. All of a sudden, people who mentioned Sui 6 months ago are going to start recycling that content as if they're now a genius. This is called the Nostradamus effect. Talk about 800 different cryptos, wait for one of them to hit, say, you're an idiot for not listening to me 6 months ago when I totally told you that Sui was going to be big. Okay, yeah, I also told you 799 things that have gone to zero, but don't worry about those. Worry about the one that I told you that actually hit. Okay, that's gonna happen first. The next thing that's going to happen is everyone who's new and kind of looking for some guidance is going to be like, oh, well, shit, wait a second. Should I get this one? Is this the thing that's going to take me to the promised land? No, not anymore. Now, what's going to happen is we're waiting for we're waiting for reality to catch up. Because when a crypto rips like this, it usually gets overvalued very quickly and the market will equalize it. It will happen in time. So Sui will correct. It could 10 years from now end up significantly higher than it is right now, but there's volatility between then and now. You know, saying in 10 years is silly in crypto because the industry is barely 10 years old. So just The first thing that I would beseech you to do is slow down. Don't just go buy it. Think about all the things I said earlier about risk tolerance. How soon do you need this money back? Can you actually afford to put this money in? Are you okay with this money going down in the short, medium, even long term? What if this was the top? How pissed would you be? How screwed would you be if this thing cratered next week? Just like,
Yeah.
I would beg you, before you ape in, just please think about all that. Will deciding to buy Sui this week or next week or whatever, because Will, I
did not do. Which I did not do.
Which you did not do yet, or maybe won't. But I know you've been talking about it, and you made a great video explaining, tracking the TVL over time, all these different things. It could become a decision that Will's like, based on XYZ, all these things I've accumulated over years, it's a good idea for me to risk X% of my short-term bag on Sui, whatever. Will's probably not going to refuse to take any profit off the table before 1,000% gain, right? Like if I bought Sui right now and it went up another 20%, you bet your ass I would sell, because 20% is a great gain. And I know that I'm coming in on the potential tail end of a massive pump over a couple months. And I know that there's still global instability, but I do know that October has bullish sentiment. So there's a chance that less people will sell during October because they don't want to risk missing out on the gains, right? These are all things that go into the decision. And that's why, sorry, Will, last point, I'll wrap it up. When you come into a TikTok live and you are like, hey, thoughts on whatever, and someone gives you a 1-sentence answer, and that's where the conversation stops, like, hey, what do you think about Sui? Bullish. Fucking, that person is not your teacher and they have no idea what they're talking about. Or they are giving you a contextless answer that they have accumulated over a very long amount of time, and they have no clue how to communicate to you that that's their decision and it probably doesn't work for you. So all you hear is a person who makes money doing this say they're bullish, and then you're going to hear from this, that means it's going to be 1,000% more, next week, and full send, boys, we're going to the moon. So that's why this is so hard.
Yeah, and what I'll add to this is Sui's been a coin I've been paying attention to for a while. I view, in the video I made this morning was me basically saying like, hey, the TVL, essentially the amount of money being put onto it, is increasing, which means adoption is increasing. And it's increased at a very impressive time where the amount of money being put on chain, the amount of people getting on chain, was decreasing since March because Bitcoin's price is going down. And so I'm like, hey, Sui's as an investment is on my radar screen, and Sui's ecosystem of altcoins is now potentially on my radar screen. So if I wanted to buy something right now and not Sui, because actually, let me show you this chart real quick. So this is, wait, that didn't flip, go. This is Sui's weekly chart. And when this is the stochastic RSI, when the stochastic RSI is in this territory, it's overbought, this black territory here. Its weekly chart has been in overbought territory for a long time, signaling that us coming down is right around the corner. And when I look at other coins I could buy, like this is Aerodrome. Aerodrome's stochastic RSI on the weekly time frame is not in overbought territory yet, meaning there's more meat on the bone here to potentially buy. I look at a coin like Jupiter, which I'm also bullish on. Its weekly stochastic RSI says there's a lot of potential room to the upside, right? So if I were to decide to buy right now, long-term time frame, Jupiter hasn't really run yet. Aerodrome's been running but has more to go. Sui is done, right? That's what this is telling me, at least, in the short term. Like there's way, way, way more potential here for us to have a cooling off period to some level of support. Whereas Aerodrome says it can run for a little bit longer, and Jupiter says it can run for a little bit longer. So I mention all that as just one thing that I'm looking at.
It's like, what'd you do, Will? Did you run something over?
No, I dropped my knife. And so I've now been shown strength in Sui from price action as well as adoption. And so now SUI is on my radar screen as something to buy when there's an opportunity in the future. Or if I was really, really, really bullish right now, I would go and look in the altcoin ecosystem for coins built on SUI. Because if the amount of money on SUI is growing, and let's say it just keeps going up and up and up and up and up and up and up, that pool of money within its ecosystem is growing. That could then start to go very easily into SUI altcoins. So then I would go, hey, if it's going to go up and up and up and up and up, let me look within SUI's ecosystem to see if any of the altcoins are running yet or if they're undervalued. If they're undervalued, I have an opportunity to get in early for a coin that can take advantage of that growing ecosystem. So yes, I will miss out on SUI if it keeps going up and up and up and up and up. But it has told me that the money is going here. And like I said earlier in the live today, follow the money if you're an investor. So follow that SUI money, dive into its DeFi ecosystem or its altcoin ecosystem, and use some of the tools I mentioned before. Use DeFi Llama, use DApp Radar, use Token Terminal. The two first ones are the ones you should start with, and see what altcoins within SUI are getting more of that money, are getting more of that attention, are getting more users added on. And now you have found yourself a potential opportunity to make some real money off of. So you missed out on SUI, but you followed the money and you found a good investment that can become very, very, very profitable off of SUI's success. That's something else that you can do in order to profit off of this, as opposed to just being like, oh man, SUI already popped off, and then just turning around and walking out the door. You're missing out on an opportunity to potentially make money if you keep following that money.
Well, real quick before we move on, were you looking at those graphs? Was that the price chart on CoinMarketCap? Yeah.
That was the price chart on TradingView.
TradingView, thank you. But you could also see it on CoinMarketCap. You could see it on CoinGecko. And you can learn more information about these tokens, like Will has said, on DeFi Llama. These are all great websites. And if you're struggling and you're like, whoa, wait, write it down, hang on a second, the best place to get that is to jump into our Discord. You can get there totally free in a couple of clicks, and somebody will absolutely answer that question for you.
Yeah.
There's a couple rapid fire points I think we can kind of hit here. Let me scroll up real quick. So Carol was asking basically just, is there any validity to the idea of, putting in a little bit and taking it out quickly? And yes, absolutely.
Sure.
I would say that if you look at any crypto and you look at, your own investment portfolio, and I'll just make up a hypothetical, I'm sitting here, I have, my budget is drawn out. I know how much money I'm bringing into my household. I know how much I have to spend to keep everything operating. I know what my discretionary fund is, which is, the extra amount that I would like to have set aside every month for, XYZ. I've had some surprise vet expenses lately, right? That, you got to be able to account for stuff like that. So all of that is set and done. I would say you need to do that before you can design your investment profile to, determine how much money you're able to risk or do whatever. So what would that look like for you? Truly only you can say. But let's say hypothetically that you've done that and you're holding a couple $100 in front of you and you're like, if I lost all of this tomorrow, would I be a little disappointed? Sure. Is it going to hamper my ability to pay for any of the things that I have to pay for? Is it going to cause a problem in my marriage if my significant other finds out that I risked this and it's gone? Is it going to make me unable to pay for something I need next month? Whatever. So you've got that amount and you invest in something. Now you have the next step of deciding what your profile looks like, which is, okay, it's up 10%. I've made $50. That's cool. That's great. $50 can get you some stuff, right? So okay, so now you have to decide, what was my plan for this? So perhaps now you've bought it and it's up 10% and now you're facing the decision for the first time, shit, I had no plan for what to do now. Do I sell it? Do I only sell half of it? What do I do? This is another thing that you kind of have to answer, which is sort of why, when people say the phrase pay your tuition in crypto, this is sort of what they mean. The difference is that I don't think you need to lose 10 grand to pay your tuition. I think you can I think you can, do it responsibly, which is apparently a hot take. But know what you want to do.
I wish I had.
No.
Right? know what you want to do ahead of time. So I'll give you an example. My first year, I had no clue. I didn't know what my risk profile was. I didn't know anything. And so I found myself, what I'm about to say will probably resonate with people. I put, $1,000 into some crypto that I didn't really understand because I was seeing a lot of chatter about it online. I bought it and I made, it doubled. It doubled very quickly. And I didn't know I was like, oh, okay, but everyone's saying that it's going to, go up to here. And if the global liquidity market, $8 trillion is going to flow into crypto, biggest transfer of wealth ever. I'm like, well, shit, I don't want to miss out on that. So I'll just let it ride. And then I lost it. And then I did that again. And I did it again. And I did it again. And I did that repeatedly for my entire first bull run. And then a bear market hit and I was like, well, I messed up. But, I didn't leave and I got a couple things and I was like, well, I guess, just stick it out. Next bull run came. All the way up again. Rode my profits super high. Was buying all the way up. I'm like, well, now I know. I didn't. It all went back. Third time. It took me 3 to finally just have the wherewithal to be like, you know what? 20% is pretty good. I'm going to pay myself back a little bit. I'm not going to give into the fear that capital gains is going to bankrupt me because that's insane.
Exactly. It's so dumb.
Like, if you made money and you have to pay some tax on it, great. Ask yourself, would you rather pay tax on winnings or write off the loss? It's a no-brainer, right? Also, capital gains barely affects anyone that I talk to. Like, whenever you hear it fear-mongered, they're talking about the upper echelon tax bracket for capital gains rates. There's actually a significant number of people who don't pay any capital gains because they're dealing with such a small amount, according to the government. Mm-hmm. There's a threshold where it's 0. There's a threshold where it's less than 10. There's a threshold where it's 15. You can go read the IRS tax guidance line every single year for current capital gains rates based on income threshold and blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know, I'm doing the thing where I start to ramble here. The point is that
I'm doing the thing.
All you got to do is ask us, man. Throw us the lifeline and we'll save you. You're good. You're good. Land this plane.
Guys, I'm doing the thing.
Really, the point that I'm trying to make is just determining your own risk profile is very important. And I would encourage you to figure it out the easy way by being way more willing to sell in any amount of green than you are likely to hold. So if you see 30%, just like take a step back. Christina says, I've never rambled in my life. That's true. This is my first ramble ever. Just take a step back and recognize that like 30% is really good and take some off the table. And that is financial advice. Be willing to take some profit, even in an amount that by crypto Twitter standards is weak, bro.
And can I give you a mental model for that too, Alex, to wrap you up with a bow? Carol had asked for 500. If I had, $500 and I don't need a lot of money to live on, but I need more than that, I want to make some money in the short term. The time frame part of it, the short term, is a trade-off you're making with certainty. The more you are betting on the short term, the less likely your bet is to come to fruition. So your certainty, your 100%, it will go up, goes down. The longer your time frame is, kind of the more certain you can get in some regards. There is sort of a sweet spot. But think about it this way. If you want that $500 to do 2x, you could look around for something that'll give you a high conviction, maybe 50% conviction. It might take a while, but you can feel good about it. If you want an even lower return, you're cool with 1%, you could buy a savings bond and it would take you months, but you'd be pretty certain that at the end of that 6 months, your money would grow. The question is, how precious is the $500 to you? And how many times do you want to swing at the bat before you get a hit? If it's 100x you're looking for, you may have to lose $500 again and again and again and again before you ever get it. it's like a 1% thing. If you're just looking to make a 2x, like Will said a little while ago, it's not that difficult to do something with your money that can double it over time, and then double it again, and then double it again, and then double it again. And all of a sudden, you're up 20x. And it took you a little longer, but you were stepping on more certain ground. And the name of the game is always do what you have to do so that you're not totally out of the market. If that $500 is going to get lost and then keep you on the sidelines for the next year, that is not as good a use of your money. You want to keep your money in the market, keep swinging at the bat. However you can do that, that's a good strategy to me. Just don't lose the money.
Single, maybe you get a double, single here and there. Eventually, you win the game.
Will, there's a good question. I think is a quicker one. When you're looking at a chart and you can break it down into so many different time frames, all the way down, from a year to 1 minute. What determines which chart you're going to look at? Why are there so many different time frame breakdowns? And do I need to be using every single one of them to trade or to analyze anything, or why are there so many? Why do I need them?
It's partly because people asked for it and people want to have a competitive product out there. So if you go, we have way more time frames than this, right? It's just like trying to create a competitive product, right? From a business standpoint of offering something like that. If you offer more time frames, I guess you could say you have a more competitive bearing. But today, everyone offers all the same time frames. So take that conversation, I guess, throw that into the trash can. Everything I just said was useless. Now, to answer your question in a positive way, you really don't have, unless you're a day trader, and when I say day trader, I mean like a very, 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 very experienced one with a long track record of success. Those people are looking at the hourly time frame in like a serious way. But as us normal lay people, you should be looking at the monthly, the weekly, and the daily. And probably don't go too much past that if you're starting out. You really shouldn't. You don't need to go into the 4-hour, the 2-hour, the 1-hour, the 30-minute, or the 5-minute chart. There's nothing there that's useful.
No, unless you're looking at a meme coin that's, minuscule.
It just gives you less and less useful information. And the reason why is that the trends that you find on the monthly chart are telling you what the most power, and also the 3-month chart, right? The further out you get tells you what the most powerful trend is in the market. And that trend will then dictate what's happening on smaller time frames. Not in a perfect one-to-one relationship, but overall, right? So go and find the trends that you want to find and uncover and start to answer some of your questions on the monthly time frame. Then take a look at the weekly, and then take a look at the daily. And start to and that's about what you should be doing. So understand what the big picture trend is. If the big picture trend is bullish, let's say, then you go to the weekly and the daily time frame and you go, cool, the daily time frame right now looks to be oversold. That's oversold. The weekly chart's oversold. The monthly chart is telling me it's bullish. Because the monthly chart is bullish, I would expect the daily and the weekly chart to be pulled upwards, which means now could be a really good time to buy. And the same is true for the opposite. Because what is the overarching macro trend is what will cause, it will pull the smaller time frames with it, right? Obviously, when macro trends change, they don't change immediately. It is the smaller term time frames that then act first and change it. But the thing is the amount of time that you have for a macro trend to be in effect as compared to the amount of time where that macro trend is changing, the macro trend that's in effect, that's in control, that you can rely on, is in control for a much larger chunk of time than it takes for that macro trend to switch off. So there is a time period where the daily and the weekly will actively work against what is the macro trend to then turn it. But the amount of time it took to turn it is much shorter than what that trend is. So you can very, very, very reliably rely on what the monthly or the 3-month chart are telling you, much more so than you can rely on the weekly and the daily. And if you're a new trader, macro swing trading is where you should be, baby, because it gets rid of so much noise and so much emotion, where if you look at a chart from really, really long out, you can go, cool, it looks like to me the trend is up, and I'll buy now and I'll sell 5 months down the line, and you just ignore the noise on the daily week chart, keep your eyes on that monthly chart, keeps going up, and cool, you sell it, and it's a far less emotional experience. And it's typically results in far higher win rates, particularly for new traders, but for veteran traders too, because you can so easily get lost in the noise of the daily chart, of the 4-hour chart, of the hour chart, and it's not really giving you really useful information unless you are a very experienced day trader and you know exactly what you're doing. You're probably using margin. You get a 5% move on 5x margin, you make 25%, and you're out on a trade setup that took an hour to create, execute, and finish, right? That is a very, very, very fast-paced game. That's a very experienced game. That is not our game, nor will it ever be. I will never be good enough to be able to do that to the point where at the end of the year I made money. But I can absolutely use the daily, weekly, monthly chart to make me money by the end of the year. I'm still going to have some losses. You are never going to win all of your trades. You are never going to win all of your trades.
No one
but when
does.
you lose small, and when you win big.
Yeah.
It's worth I'm one of the little tiny bumper sticker versions of what Will just said, the way that I look at these charts as someone who's not a trader. Just like Will said, I don't sit here and day trade. I'm not good at it. I've had desires to learn before, and it's not gone great.
Yeah, same.
So I recognize my strengths, and I don't have the free flowing capital right now to risk it. If I did, then perhaps I would take more gambles like this. But as far as my risk tolerance goes in crypto, I'm extremely conservative. I almost buy nothing. I barely buy anything. But if I'm going to change the time frame on my chart, usually it has to do, the easiest way I think about it is whatever time frame I'm looking at, 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 month, whatever, is the time frame that I'm trying to view this investment in. So like, for example, when I buy Bitcoin, well, Bitcoin's a bad example. I never look at the chart. I just buy a few bucks of it here and there because I want more. Let me think of some Solana.
Sure.
Solana I like. I have more long-term conviction in it than many other things, but it's not something that I'm comfortable enough to just like buy and never look at again, and then stay. So if I'm looking at it on a month-to-month chart, I'm going to keep my eye on the monthly chart. Because I want to know how good was it this month, how bad was it this month, how whatever. When I'm staying up late with a beer and buying some meme coins for fun because I want to pull the slot machine lever, I'm on the 1 minute chart because that's my time frame. I'm going to make a purchase and I'm going to leave within the scope of 1 minute, 3 minutes, 6 minutes. So I want to be tracking what's happening minute to minute because that's my time frame. I'm not bullish or bearish on a meme coin any longer than 1 or 5 minutes into the future. I'm watching it in real time, and I don't even leave my desk when I have an open trade on something that's that risky, right? So that's why I would use the minute chart. But the minute chart is insane if I'm dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin, on a weekly basis where I throw 20 bucks into it or something like that. I would never look at the minute chart for Bitcoin because I don't care. That's the easiest way I think about it. Whatever time frame is in my head, I look at the chart that corresponds with that time frame on my screen.
That's a good shortcut.
Hey guys, I have to start circling up my wagons and head on out.
We've covered a lot of stuff. Will, do you have any short and sweet summaries? Any TLDRs? Anything that you're looking at? How do you want to head out?
How do you want us to remember you, Will?
Besides that astonishing jawline.
No, that's it. That's all I want you guys to remember me for is this jawline.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I guess the only thing I would say, like, what's a nice little bow tie to wrap up on this? I don't know. Find trade scenarios or investment scenarios that, and this takes time, that you find comfortable investing in. And once you find that setup or those series of setups where you're like, investing in this, whether it's technical or looking at macroeconomics, combination of both, right? wait until you see that, and don't try to just like let the emotions of the market pull you in those directions. Find what makes you comfortable. Be fine with missing out on opportunities because you're not going to catch them all. And when you look to invest, and when you look to buy, and when you look to sell, feel good knowing that you bought and you sold into scenarios that you thought were going to make you a winner, as opposed to where the market was trying to like force you to be, right? So that's the important thing. Like, I have a number of setups that I like to see when I buy. I sell when I feels good, and that's essentially it. It's like, I'm gonna sell, like, it feel good to sell now, sell, and then walk away. But the buying is the most important part. I feel like no, they're equally as important, because I've bought before and been in profit but never sold, and then just rode that shit down. So they're equally as important. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling now myself, as I kind of think about the best way to end a very philosophical.
Miss you when you go.
Yes, but I'll head out, guys. But yeah, find a setup you like to buy and sell in, and execute on that. I'll see you guys later.
Sounds good, Will. Bye, man. And we're going to take our dogs and our ponies and ride off into the sunset here in a minute, too. So if you've got a last-minute question, suggestion, good joke, word of wisdom, drop it in the comments. And let me remind you, if you're one of our friends, that we know in chat, come on up. Just tap the request button. I don't know that we'll take any guests today because we're wrapping things, but we'll be back tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. And we would love to have a conversation with you voice to voice. People often ask us, hey, do you know of a place I can get my hand held while I buy XRP? Or is there anybody who teach classes like that? And the answer is yes, it's us. But are you getting the most value out of the stuff we do for free? Like this show. Come up and ask us a question. Get into the Discord server. Ask us your question. Check out the resources on the YouTube channel. And if you still have questions, we've got live courses. We have got private coaching. We want to help you become a more self-sufficient investor, crypto builder, networker, or just curious person in the space. And just as a quick teaser, this Sunday is when our live class kicks off. It's going to be Web3 101. And we've got a series of classes kicking off that'll go over Web3 101, how to install a crypto wallet, buy, sell, trade crypto, how to do DeFi things like stake to earn a passive yield, and then also how to analyze or start a crypto portfolio, things to think about. You can find all of that at theriseupmorningshow.com. And if you're a premium member, not only do you get every course, recording, or coaching at a huge discount, but you get increased access to us. We will answer all your questions first in the community. And we will, office hours. We do office hours. I do one every week on Friday. We would be willing to be more flexible and add more at a different time, depending on where our members live. So if you want the real juice to accelerate your learning journey, that's what it is. You don't have to pay to learn with us. But if you want to pay, we hope to make it the best, most valuable use of your time and money, because we know there are a lot of places you could go. And like Alex said, not all those folks are your teacher. Okay. Alex, do you have any thoughts to add to that, or a final joke, tip, request, word of wisdom for our audience?
Yeah. So, couple questions that are circulating here. Let me just scroll because I wanted to hit them all. Wes, in answer to your question, yes, I am going to be doing another video on staking. So I did staking in 60 seconds, but staking is a big topic, and there's no way to put all of it into the 60-second video. So the 60-second video is really just meant to kind of define the term, so that when someone uses it in conversation, you'd be like, okay, they're talking about using or storing my crypto in a way to secure the network and earn some rewards for my service. I want to do a longer one that just kind of talks about like locking, tax obligations for making money from staking and rewards, the risks of doing it on a centralized exchange versus native staking, the benefits to doing it on a centralized exchange versus native staking, whatever. So it'll be a little bit of a longer one, but my goal is to go through kind of a lot more of the nuance there. So, if there's a topic like that you would like, especially one that I've done, like a 60, whatever in 60 seconds, just leave a comment on the appropriate video and just, kind of prompt me to do the part 2. and then I can reply to that comment as the impetus to doing the next video. There's been a lot of questions about, like, when is the recession coming? Is it going to come at this point? What's the price by this? But this, we have no idea.
No one knows.
We are not price prediction people. There's a lot of disagreement right now in the financial space about, the impending recession. Is it going to come? Is it already here? How long has it been here? Could it get worse? Is it all over? All of these different things are questions that top analysts,
they make their money speculating on these things.
Yeah. There's an entire industry based on charging you to guess. We don't know. I answered a question, are we bearish this week, or what's the price prediction or whatever? And my answer was just that we're agile. And it sounds a little bit
like
smarter,
that.
But what I mean by that is just, hey, we don't know what's going on. The spoiler alert is that not a single person creating content on TikTok knows what's going to happen. No one has a crystal ball. And the best thing that you can be is agile. The best thing that you can be is willing to adjust your opinion and your perspective and your outlook and your time frame and all of these different things that you can adjust when you receive new information.
Man.
And I think
I'm just ruminating on it. I'm
proud of that one.
Yeah, Alex told me, he sent me a private message and said, hey man, I got a meeting at the top of the hour. And while he's in his meeting, I'm thoroughly planning to make a video that says that, just to rug you. You got to make that video, man. That's such a great bumper sticker.
It's on my, it's
okay,
in my
flip it to the top, because I just went, ooh.
That's really it. Be willing to accept new information and be willing to adjust your outlook when you get that new information. That's really all you need to do to succeed. And it's incredible how many people are unwilling to do that, especially people who claim to be skeptics. Like, you're a skeptic until anything challenges your belief. And then all of a sudden you're the most diehard maximalist of all time.
And you need to spend time with people who teach you to invest your attention that way. Instead of influencers who are training you to ask, will this token, will that token pump? What will next month look like? You really should be investing your time in teachers that will equip you with the tools, experience, and knowledge to sort of sift these bits of information into valuable resources for yourself. It means so much when people tell us that they learn here, and that is our goal, to help you learn more, become more self-sufficient. Alex, you said something I wanted to respond to as my last thought, and now I can't remember what the hell it is.
Well, while you think about it, I just want to say I'm so excited that we have this little notice board thing now. It's my favorite feature we've ever gotten on TikTok. If I got my video editor back, it would just be the greatest day ever. Still to this day, don't have it. My TikTok does not have the option for me to edit videos anymore, which is just incredible. But as it says, we are here Monday through Thursday, every morning, same time, same place. This is the place to bring criticism of the industry, skepticism, doubt, accusations of scams. You're probably right. And we love going through that kind of stuff. We are on a never-ending mission to get out of the echo chamber and talk to more people who have issues with Web3, because there are, frankly, a lot of issues. So if any of this is interesting, whether you're concerned about it, upset about it, excited about it, whatever, this is that platform. When we talk about the political landscape with regards to crypto, it's not to endorse one side or the other. It's to analyze what each side is bringing to the table, what they're proposing, how you should look at the way that they talk about stuff, all these sorts of things. You're never going to hear a tacit endorsement of one candidate or another candidate. You're not going to hear the declaration that we absolutely know what's going on, because we don't. We are agile. We are intaking new information every single day and making sure that the way that we're conducting ourselves is in line with the best, most relevant information that we have so far. The Discord is a great place to hop into if you're curious about us and the community, and if you're on the fence about like paying for a premium subscription or buying a course or something like that. That's why the free sample exists, because there's a lot of benefit for some people to paying for that kind of stuff. Maybe, you know, you want to learn, you don't learn in a large group, you would rather learn in a small one-on-one setting. Absolutely. Everyone has the right to do that. We can't do that for free all the time to everybody. That's why this stuff exists. But I would encourage everyone to first just join the free server and pop a question in general and see if you like it, see if you are enjoying the community experience. That's kind of the whole point.
Yeah, and one particular resource, I don't think this is what I was going to say, but it is, I'm going to make it my final thought, is that there is a great tutorial video. Alex has done many short form videos on this, but we have on our YouTube a slightly longer, slower, like walk you through every screen guide to how we do our research on crypto tokens. That is an example of a kind of process you might do. It is not the end all be all process. It is not the right way, but it is a way that we have worked out that saves us a lot of time. The video is about 30 minutes, but it's the kind of process that, you know, when Alex and I are talking about a token or we hear a question on a live and we've never heard about it, we can do it in 90 seconds while we are talking to you. And it becomes part of your crypto arsenal. So Alex, are you about to show them a thumbnail here?
Just one of the things.
Oh yeah. And you've got the deal. Where can they get the guide?
So that I'm finishing. My goal is to this week have finished the final edits on this guide and also this guide.
Beautiful.
And I'm doing one that is the exciting market guide as well.
The perfect companion to the boring market guide. I love it.
So these I basically have. These are like, you know, years of tips and notes that now, thanks to the wonder that is AI, I've been able to finally just scan and upload to something that helped me turn it into a presentation. So these are definitely things that I would recommend, you know, if you, so here, let me turn this back around. I can't.
Spit it out, man.
I can't do both. Uh-oh.
Well, we lost him. Rip.
Oh, there we go. It was just like, you can't turn this around. What are you talking about? So I have a bunch of those. So I have a ton of free videos, right? But if you wanted to take it up a notch and, you know, get the tool that I use to do all this kind of stuff that I'll give example by example of, you can download and buy these things from me, which they're not edited fully yet, but hopefully by the end of this week I'll be done, and then, you know, they'll kind of go into our store with all of the other stuff. Or you can just binge watch a bunch of my videos and get it there too. But no, Evan, to your point, I can pull that up as well, and we can show that on the way out the door here.
Yeah, and I do believe the fastest way to find that is going to be, if you're not on our YouTube page, to visit theriseupmorningshow.com. Get
Yes.
that link to go to YouTube, and it's in the Web3 101 playlist. We've got tutorials on tools like Token Sniffer that you can use to see if a meme coin is going to be a scam. We've got tutorials on Banana Gun, the trading bot. Shout out to all the people who reported on those users who were breached the other day. Thank you for sharing that in our community. A super fast trading bot. I've talked to a lot of people who have used it very successfully. We did a tutorial on, I mean, I don't know, we got a lot of them, but the do your own research guide is probably the one I would say most people would get the most value from. And I've got it here on TikTok on my channel. I actually have a playlist called Web3 101 long form that has that video. So you can just go to my profile and watch it there too, but that's what it looks like. Show them someone else.
If you go to YouTube and just search Faceless Labs Web3 101, the very first hit is the playlist that Evan's talking about. Web3 101, walkthroughs and tutorials, Faceless Labs. You can...
And one last thing on the way out the door, I'll make this my thought, is we had a question in the comments, do you have any tutorials on using AI? We haven't done one yet, but we're making them all the time. Alex and I are going to make one today about our friends at cryptosnapshot.net. We definitely could do an AI tutorial, and let me know if you're interested. We, in the past, have done live classes around AI. Alex and I are using tools like GPT every single day for, I guess, years now. So if that's something that would be of interest, please do let us know. Oh, and Alex, this is what I was going to say. If you have a question, if you have a suggestion for us, the best way to leave us feedback, because we get a lot of DMs. If you have a question you want us to answer, if you're not comfortable joining the Discord, that's totally cool. But I would love it if you would try and leave it in a comment. I don't know about you, Alex, but probably 99% of the questions I get are repeat questions. And if you have a question, that means somebody else is going to have it. So go to any of our videos and leave it as a comment. Hey, how do I install a cold wallet? Hey, would you guys do classes on AI? And then not only does it make it easy to click a button and respond to you with a video, but other people can benefit from the conversation we might have. And that means a lot to us when you help us help others. So I'm well met, man. You well met?
Me too.
Heck yeah. Well then, friends, thank you for being the best part of what we do. Jump into the Rise Up Morning Show Discord. Don't walk, run to the riseupmorningshow.com. Check it out. Get a course, get a mug, get in touch with us, and then come back tomorrow. We'll be here tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, same time, same place for another episode of our great show. Until then, my friends, rise up.